We have also said that if there are breaches of our regulations, we will take action against the financial institutions or individuals involved. MAS has required the independent parties to highlight these breaches and potential cases of mis-selling to MAS. They have already brought a number of possible cases to our attention, and we are following up on them. Normally, as you know, MAS does not comment on our dealings with individual institutions. However, given public interest in this matter, MAS confirms that we have been conducting formal inquiries into allegations of breaches of the law, inadequate internal controls by the FIs, or poor sales practices by their representatives. We will make an announcement on any actions we are taking when our inquiries are completed. MAS urges any affected investor who has a genuine claim that you will mis-sold the product to make sure you lodge your complaints with your FIs. MAS requires FIs to have a rigorous process to look into every complaint and resolve them fairly, giving due weight to the views of the independent persons. Clearly, there is a range of investors who bought these products. Some are well-educated professionals, others are sophisticated investors. The group we are most concerned with are the vulnerable customers. We are focusing on cases of mis-selling to vulnerable customers and on cases where the products were clearly inappropriate for them given their circumstances. We have required the FIs to give priority to such cases. They should not take an overly legalistic approach to mis-selling in dealing with these cases. For cases where there are sufficient indications that the product was mis-sold or that it was clearly inappropriate given the investor's profile and circumstances, the FIs should take responsibility. Several FIs have assured MAS that they will take full responsibility in such cases. We welcome this commitment and expect all FIs who have sold these products to take the same approach. They must do the right thing and ensure a quick and fair resolution for these customers. We have communicated this clearly to
Singapore
the
Central
CEOs.
Bank hasn't ruled out buying back mini bonds linked to failed investment bank Lehman Brothers, the way Hong Kong is doing. But the Monetary Authority of Singapore says for now, its focus is to help what it called vulnerable customers. Our reporter Wong Siu-Ing joins us now with the details. Siu-Ing, what is MAS saying to investors out there who have lost their savings on these investments?
Well, yes, Lynn, the MAS says the buyback option is not on the table just yet. The central bank says that's because many investors have asked for a replacement to take on Lehman's role in the mini bond program. They should know whether such a replacement can be found by the end of next week. Now, if no replacement comes along, the assets could be sold so that investors can be paid. However, it's unclear how much investors would get back. The talk is that the mini bonds could be worth anything between a fraction and half their value based on the current market rate. Understandably, this has caused some frustration among Singaporeans.
So the question is, in the marketing, in the creation of these products, was there a breach of this law? There is a responsibility for the person recommending this product to explain it properly and to make sure it is appropriate. Now, I suspect that if there's a proper investigation done, you're going to find that these two acts have been breached quite seriously.
Okay. Now, following on that point, Siu-Ing, MAS is trying to find out if banks flouted the law in selling investment products. What's happening there?
Well, yes, that's right. MAS says it's now investigating and could not offer more details. But it says the probe will look into whether financial institutions or FIs have breached laws or have inadequate internal controls or poor sales practices by their representatives.
For cases where there are sufficient indications that the product was mis-sold or that it was clearly inappropriate given the investor's profile and circumstances, the FIs should take responsibility. Several FIs have assured MAS that they will take full responsibility in such cases.
This could mean the banks may have to compensate some investors if evidence proved that the products were missold. Now, although thousands have been affected, the MAS is more concerned about those most vulnerable, including retirees above 55 years old, those who are less educated, and first-time investors. The central bank is also reviewing its regulatory framework to cope with the changing global investment environment. Well, this will not be the end of the mini bond saga. The issue will be raised in Parliament on Monday among 16 questions relating to the financial crisis. Lynn?
Thank you very much, Stu Ying. And that was our reporter Wong Stu Ying with an MAS announcement on Lehman-linked mini bonds. As mentioned earlier, Hong Kong banks will buy back Lehman mini bonds at market value. The banks apparently caved in to weeks of protests. More than 30,000 investors there lost money on the credit-linked notes after Lehman's collapse. They had bought up some $1.6 billion worth of Lehman mini bonds, but not everyone is jumping at the offer.
The program seems to suggest that those victims or investors can get as much as 60% to 70%. But don't forget, that was proposed about, well, almost more than 1 week ago. And 1 week, in the past week, a lot of things happen in the commercial world or the financial world.
Some investors could actually end up with nothing.